What is up, Sooner Nation? Welcome back to another edition of Sooner Surge Softball here as we preview the series this weekend with Iowa State. The weather's going to be interesting, going to be a cold one tomorrow for the doubleheader, Hunter. And before we get started with this video, check out the Fan Stop. Go to thefanstop.com. Use code SURGE. You'll get 10% off your first 3 months. Great looking shirts. New one every month, and you never have to leave your house. Shipped right to your door. It's great stuff. Check it out. Hunter, let's get started, man. Iowa State coming to Love's Field for a 3-game set. Just kind of let's preview this series.
Yeah, it's opening a Big 12 play. Final run for Oklahoma in the Big 12. Texas right now, as we're recording this, they're opening their Big 12 play. They are down currently to Houston 12-7. So that's something to watch. Depending on how that game goes, that could determine the rankings for this upcoming week. Oklahoma, they take care of business at Love's Field, could move back up to number one. But yeah, Iowa State, not the best team you're going to face in the Big 12. I think that's a good opening series to get at home. 9-10 on the season, not a Baylor, Oklahoma State, or Texas of the conference. So a team that kind of just gets you into the swing of things. Non-conference is behind you, other than your occasional midweek non-conference game. And yeah, just Big 12 plays here. Final one, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and you look at Iowa State and their schedule. Early on they played a lot of the same teams that OU played. Washington, Duke, Utah Valley, some of those same teams from the Puerto Vallarta tournament. And, if you go through their whole schedule, and I've watched a couple games and just looking at their schedule, they give up a lot of runs, Hunter. And that's the one thing I really noticed about Iowa State is this should be a good weekend for Oklahoma to score a lot of runs.
Yeah, Iowa State gave up 16 against Duke. They kept it fairly close against Washington down in Puerto Vallarta, only allowing 8 runs in that one. They lost 8-4. So, yeah, tough opening schedule for them. Since then, not as tough, but they've struggled 9-10 on the season entering the series.
Yeah, and, let's talk about pitch and rotation, Hunter. I mean, for this series, is it going to be the norm with what Patty Gaskell's done this year? Is it going to be May Maxwell deal?
I'm sticking with that answer till I see different. That has been, regardless of the struggles that May has had, Maxwell's had some too. That's really been the way the rotation has went this year. And Kirsten Deal pitched in that midweek, which it's softball. She only pitched 3 innings. She could easily go tomorrow in one of the games if need be. It wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I would think it stays with those original 3.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. Until she changes it up, I can't say that it's going to happen. So I would agree. Hey, this is a series that May and Maxwell kind of need to get back on track. And that's what I'm looking for this series. I think the bats will be there. I think they're going to score runs. But I'm going to be honest with you, like, if they go out there and win 8-5, it's going to be disappointing, especially if it's with May or Maxwell struggle again. So I think that's really something to keep an eye on this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Iowa State, they're middle of the road offensively, 43rd in the country in scoring. So this is a weekend for those pitchers to build some confidence. Shutouts would be huge going forward for Oklahoma. You have the Baylor series coming up, Oklahoma State down the road, Texas in about a month. So those series starting to get bigger and bigger opportunities there. So any confidence you can build in a Big 12 weekend is massive going forward for Oklahoma.
That's right. And, talking about some standouts for this weekend, Hunter, who do you think maybe on the offensive side of the ball is going to be? I mean, you could say, Ella Parker a few weekends ago, Cassidy Pickering now. What about this weekend? Who stands out to you this weekend? Who has the best offensive performance of the weekend, Hunter?
I'm going to go with Alyssa Brito. Batting .439 on the year. Team, you mentioned it, they give up a good amount of runs. I think Brito has a big weekend, extends her lead on the home run leaderboard for Oklahoma, knock in some more RBIs as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go TRA Jennings. I think Jennings has a great weekend offensively. Now we'll see. I mean, I am interested to see a little bit of what they do with her defensively. If they're just keep it the same, they're going to move things around, you know. But I think
TRA interesting stretch.
Week.
It's been an interesting stretch for TRA defensively because beginning the first few weeks of the season, I was really impressed with the range, the plays she was making. And then this last weekend, just the range, something was off with that. Just uncharacteristic mistakes in that Louisiana game continue to kind of roll over. Not the mistakes, just the range, the lack thereof as of late in the midweek. And then Avery Hodge did really well any opportunity she got at second base, and then her bat came around on Tuesday or Wednesday night in that midweek matchup against Texas A&M Commerce.
Yeah, and this is a series, Hunter, that OU should go out there and sweep. And I mean, you could say that most of the year with this Oklahoma team, but after last weekend, they got to look better. And I think that's been their focus all week is, hey, what can Oklahoma do? This is not about who they're playing. This is about that's always been Oklahoma's been the standard. And so this is about them getting better and them playing to their capability, I think is the most important thing because I think they've had some good stretches this year. Yeah, they've dominated some teams. Don't get me wrong. But I do think there's been some struggles in games you wouldn't expect. And whether it be maybe the pitching's off. Next game, maybe they're not scoring. It's kind of been a mixed bag, you know, where it just hasn't been all together. It's cohesive, just whooping on people. So I'm interested to see how that happens this weekend, if it happens.
Yeah, it's been very rare to, I mean, they have the, 9, 10, 11 run rules at this point, somewhere in that range to 9 to 11. But it seems it's, even though they have a lot of run rules, it seems that compared to years past, the dominance hasn't collided from both sides, offensively, defensively, into one game as much as it has in the past 3 years. They won back-to-back national championships because of that. Iowa State, they have a 241st in ERA with a 5.26 ERA. That is a team you're going to have to put up runs. Like, really, double digits is what to expect, and I'm sure that's what Oklahoma's shooting for in each of these 3 games.
Yeah, and as fans, OU fans are very they have a very high level of expectation with this OU softball team, which is one of the reasons why even when they went back to back to back, they lose one game out of 71 games. There's people thinking, what's wrong with Oklahoma? There's nothing wrong with Oklahoma. They're going to be just fine. But you know what? The biggest thing I'm going to watch for this weekend is, you mentioned it, 241st in ERA, Iowa State. Oklahoma needs to jump on them early. And I think that's been a problem for Oklahoma in a lot of games is you're 2 to 3 innings in yet, and you're like, man, haven't scored a run. So I hope that's what we see this weekend is they get on them early and often, and they just dominate this weekend series with Iowa State. It would be a great way. Look, like you mentioned, Hunter, Texas opened up tonight, and they may lose their opening game in the Big 12. So you never know, but OU needs to come out there and dominate this weekend. Appreciate everybody watching this video. Appreciate you subscribing to the channel. If you're not, click the subscribe button. We will be going live tomorrow after the first game of the doubleheader. It's going to be a cold one, 51 degrees, I think, for the high.
Yeah, it's going to be windy. It's going to be windy, 15 to 25 mile per hour winds in Norman. Would be very nice if the wind is blowing out and see a little bit more home runs for the Sooners at Love's Field.
That's right. Appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Till next time. Boomer.